Tashidelek and welcome to Tibet This Week, a weekly feature in English that tells you about this week's news on Tibet, His Holiness the Dalai Lama and Central Tibetan Administration. Let's look at the headlines first. Empower oneself through compassionate action and critical thinking. His Holiness the Dalai Lama to Buddhist devotees. His Holiness the Dalai Lama is welcome to visit Austria, says Austrian ambassador to India. Middle way approach is a common ground for Tibetans and Swedish people, Swedish MP Carl Schlyter briefs media. CDA President Dr. Lobsang Sangay's visit to East Coast in the United States gathers steam. On Tuesday this week, His Holiness the Dalai Lama began a 4-day teaching on Buddha Palita's commentary on the fundamental wisdom of Middle Way at the request of a group from Asian countries at Suklakang Temple in Dharamshala. During the opening of the preliminary teachings, His Holiness said, "If we were to promote love and peace in the world, we have to do it by strengthening the seed of compassion that is within us, enhance and promote it not through religious dogma, wealth or might, but through using the critical faculty of intelligence through education." His Holiness fielded questions from members of the audience and students alike before beginning the main teaching. The teaching was attended by more than 6,000 devotees and followers and concluded earlier this morning. On Monday this week, Brigitte Oppener Walschaffer, a senior Austrian diplomat, while speaking to the Hindu, said His Holiness the Dalai Lama is always welcome to visit her country and that no country should succumb to the Chinese pressure while deciding on possible visit by the Tibetan spiritual leader. Walschaffer's comments came in the backdrop of Doklam standoff and the recent move of China's attempt to pressure Botswana cancel the visit of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Brigitte Oppener Walschaffer is the current Austrian ambassador to India and has also served a long stint in South Africa before coming to India. A 3-member Swedish delegation led by a member of the Swedish Parliament, Carl Schlyter, Green Party, and also a member of Swedish-Tibet Friendship Parliamentary Group expressed its continued support on the Tibet issue today.
The mindset of the Swedish people. We are a country with 203 consecutive years of non-military conflict. In our spirit, we have a saying, an idiom. It says, the golden path of the middle road, the middle way. It means that understand what your adversary or fellow human being wants. Try to find a solution where what you want can be coincided with that person. This philosophy has left us with over 200 years of peace. When I heard about the middle way, I think that is something we would have in common, Tibetan people and the Swedish people, because that's how we do business. So I was very happy when I heard about this proposal originally, some years ago. And I think this...
MP Carl further said, "I think this is a way to fit Swedish psyche to work in a similar way to find a solution. We had war with our neighbors for centuries. Now we consider them as friends. Today we are able to freely travel, work, move and change. I hope one day soon you will have the same opportunity to protect your culture and way of life." MP Carl expressed his happiness at being able to come to Dharamshala to witness the impressively efficient administration of Tibetan schools and institute in Dharamshala. On Sunday last week, the President of Central Tibetan Administration, Dr. Lobsang Sangay, arrived in San Francisco to a warm traditional welcome from the members of the Tibetan Association of North California along with the local Tibetan communities. President Dr. Sangay addressed the Tibetan community in San Francisco and spoke about the importance of preserving the Tibetan language, culture and values. The President also spoke about the 550 vision of the 15th Kashak and urged the people to stay united against all odds to ensure the success of the Tibet movement. President Dr. Lobsang Sangay met the mayor and the council members of El Cerrito City and the council members of the Richmond City. Dr. Sangay later inaugurated Tibetan Association of North California's Weekend Language School, Namche Kisel, a community center built to work towards preserving Tibetan language and culture. On Saturday last week, President Dr. Lobsang Sangay inaugurated the 22nd Tibet Fest 2017 at the Seattle Center in Seattle, Washington. Tibetans, Americans, and other foreigners interested in Tibetan culture and the Tibetan movement attended the festival. Also present at the festival were Lieutenant Governor Mr. Cyrus Habib, City Mayor Mr. Ed Murray, and a representative of U.S. Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal. Addressing the festival, President Dr. Sangay spoke about the current situation inside Tibet, particularly about the ongoing repressive policies of the Chinese government, which is threatening Tibetan religion, culture, and identity. He also spoke about the wave of self-immolation protests that swept Tibet since 2009 and emphasized the importance of protecting Tibet, the Earth's third pole, and Tibet's fragile environment. President Dr. Sangay, upon arrival in Seattle on Friday, was greeted by the Tibetan community and the executive members of the Tibetan Association. At the Sakya Center, President Dr. Lobsang Sangay spoke to around 150 local Tibetans on the importance of preservation of Tibetan language and culture. He advised the Tibetan parents to send their children to study Tibetan language and culture at the Weekend Tibetan Language and Culture School, as language is the cornerstone for Tibetan identity. So much for this week. See you next Friday. Have a great weekend.